In our town, there are stories that get passed down, the kind that aren't just about what happened, but about what we can learn. And the story of Kareem, that's one I remember really well. It's a fable, really, about wealth, about loss, and about what it means to find something that's actually valuable. And it all starts with one powerful thought. This sentence, this is everything. It's both the beginning of Kareem's story and, in a way, the very end of it. It's such a powerful hook, isn't it? It just sets the stage for this huge, dramatic journey, from the absolute pinnacle of success to the quietest, most honest moments of self-discovery. I remember Kareem when he was the man who had it all. His name just carried weight in the air. He lived in this incredible house, with floors so polished you could see the sky in them, and gardens that were always in bloom like a permanent spring. To us, he was the definition of success, a man who seemed to hold the whole world right in the palm of his hand. But see, that's the thing. He didn't start that way at all. The old stories say he began with nothing, waking up before the sun, his hands rough from work, but his eyes were just full of hope. He literally built his entire empire from the ground up, which honestly made his success seem that much bigger to all of us. But as his wealth grew, something inside him started to change. It wasn't anything loud or sudden. No, it was this quiet, slow creep, a gradual turning away from where his blessings came from and turning toward this belief in his own unshakable power. So here's how that shift happened. That remembrance, which used to be so heartfelt, it just became a habit. Prayers got quicker, squeezed in between business deals, and gratitude, that just became more and more rare. And here's the most important part. That feeling of relying on God was slowly but surely replaced by this rock-solid pride in himself. He really started to believe he was the sole architect of his fortune. And then, just like that, the winds changed. Life has a funny way of checking the foundations we build everything on, doesn't it? For Kareem, that test didn't come as a gentle rain. Oh no, it came as a full-blown hurricane, and it threatened to wash absolutely everything away. And wow, it all happened so fast. It was like a domino effect. First, a trusted partner betrayed him, which at first he just brushed off. Then, the markets turned. But the final, crushing blow? The fire. An entire warehouse, a lifetime of work, just gone, up in smoke. And all of a sudden, those crowds of friends vanished, and the only people at his door were the creditors. Can you just imagine that for a second? Standing there, surrounded by ashes, with the smell of smoke clinging to everything. The whole, tangible proof of his empire gone. Just a ruin. The constant buzz of his success was replaced by this deafening, heavy silence. Let's just pause on that for a second. Because this is the question Kareem's story really makes you ask yourself. How is it that the comfort of having everything can make us completely forget the feeling of needing anything? It's something to really think about as we see what happens to him next. So, he went back to his huge, empty house. The same rooms that used to echo with parties and business deals were now just silent. And it was in that quiet, stripped of everything that defined him, that Kareem finally had to come face to face with himself. These are the questions that just tormented him in that silent room. Why me? What did I do wrong? He was looking for someone to blame, for some external reason for it all. But the answer wasn't in a bad deal or a market crash. It was somewhere so much deeper inside him. And in that silence, it happened. This profound realization just washed over him. He stumbled upon this idea of a sovereign trust, the understanding that everything he thought he owned, his money, his house, his status, was never really his to begin with. It was all just on loan. He wasn't the owner, he was just the caretaker. And this, right here, this is the turning point of the entire story. It's such a simple shift in perspective, but it changes absolutely everything, from possession to trust. And once he started to see his life through that new lens, the anger and the despair, well, they didn't just disappear, but they started to make way for this painful but incredibly freeing clarity. Which led him to this moment. He finally prayed again. But this time he wasn't asking for his wealth back.
He wasn't trying to make a deal with God. He was simply returning. A servant, finally admitting he was completely dependent. And in that admission, he found this strange, quiet sense of relief.
So, what happened? Did his fortune magically reappear? Nope. His old life was gone, and it was gone for good. But in its place, something totally new started to grow. A different kind of wealth, you know? One you couldn't count, but you could feel it in the lightness of his heart. His journey inward kind of followed these steps. He finally accepted his dependence, and once he did, he found this incredible calm right in the middle of his hardship. He started noticing and being grateful for the smallest things, a hot meal, the sun rising. And through all that, he gained a kind of wisdom that all his money had actually been hiding from him. I'll never forget the evening I actually saw him talking to this young merchant who looked so worried. And Kareem shared this with him. It wasn't business advice, it was a life lesson. He wasn't teaching people how to get rich anymore. He was teaching them how to truly live.
And you know, in the end, that became his real legacy. Not the buildings he built or the money he made. It was the quiet peace he carried with him and the gentle wisdom he shared. His influence became so much deeper and more meaningful than it ever was when he was powerful.
This comparison just says it all, doesn't it? The town used to admire him for what he had, but now we respected him for who he became. He went from a man who filled rooms with temporary friends to a man who filled hearts with a lasting sense of peace. The way we measured his wealth had completely, totally changed.
And so Kareem's story leaves us all with this huge question to think about. Is wealth what you can pile up for yourself, or is it the peace and the wisdom you find when you finally realize none of it was ever really yours to begin with? What to you is the true measure of a rich life?